Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. We are back to the study of the Spirits book. You see it? Yeah, now we do. We stopped last week. We were talking about guardian angels, protecting spirits, and we stopped on question 503. So we start today on 504. Philip, you're going to read for us?
Certainly. 504. Can we know the name of our protective spirits or guardian angels? How can you know their names if they have no existence for you? Is it not possible that there are spirits whom you do not know of? A. But how can we call them if we do not know who they are? Give them any name you wish, that of any superior spirit with whom you identify and respect. Your guardian angel will answer this call because all good spirits are brothers and sisters who are always ready to assist one another.
Okay, so when we talk about protective spirits, guardian angels, we all have a guardian angel. We all have one spirit that is responsible for us during our incarnation, before, during, and after. But it's very likely that if this spirit were to communicate with us and tell us his or her name, it wouldn't mean anything for us because we don't remember our time in the spiritual world, our contact with him or her. But what we do know is that it's a spirit that is more evolved than us, because otherwise it wouldn't be the guardian angel. And it's a spirit that cares for us, otherwise it wouldn't be there also. So the spirits tell us, you know, if you need a name, do we need a name? Well, some of us need, right? We feel more comfortable, right?
I made up a name.
Yeah. So if we want to call them anytime, any name we wish, as the spirits tells us, you can call any superior by the name of any superior spirit that you identify and respect, right? You know, you can call him Paul of Tarsus if you want. Again, the more evolved we are, the more similar we become with the others, right? The spirits. So the more evolved spirits will accept and respect any name we choose to call them, because they connect with us through thought. It's not a name that is going to call their attention. It is the connection that when we ask for their help and assistance, they will be connecting with us through thought, and they will be ready to assist us as needed. But you know, some people know, like Emmanuel was the Chico Xavier's protecting spirit, Joana de Angelis for Divaldo, but most of us don't know, and it shouldn't be an issue unless we make it an issue, and that's our personal problem if we make an issue out of it. Normally we shouldn't. Okay? Questions, comments? Okay. Next.
5. Are the guardian angels who assume well-known names always the individuals who had those names? No, but they are like-minded spirits and are often sent by their command. You require names, so they assume a name that will inspire you with confidence. When you are unable to execute a command in person, you send someone on your behalf.
Again, they may identify themselves to us, for those that are able to receive the communications, by a well-known name that will give us comfort, that will give us a sense of security. And in the end, this is not deceiving. This is just a way of helping and assisting us, because connecting to us at our level of necessity, they understand what we need. So if we need is a name that makes us feel comfortable, they will use that name without any major issue. Again, it's not deceiving. It's just and they will do anything they can to help us by any means that they know will be effective in helping us without, of course, deceiving us. So we talked about a lot about these communications from spirits, that they sign the communication. And at the time of Kardec, most of the communications were written communications that were signed by the spirit. So the mediums would have an ability a possibility to learn about their guardian angel, their protective spirit. And they will identify themselves again, a name that will inspire you with confidence. Again, nothing wrong with that, just whatever makes us feel more comfortable in connecting to them. Okay. Okay, Philip.
506. Will we recognize our protective spirit when we enter the spirit world? Yes, because you often knew it before you reincarnated.
Okay, now when we go back to the spiritual world, we normally remember our immediate existence. So it will be logical that we wouldn't recognize our guardian angel. But again, we learn things in the spiritual world on a need-to-know basis. This is an important thing for us to know. So we will be aware, we will be make aware, or we will remember that's the spirit that is being helping us in our incarnation. So we will recognize, or we'll be, or we'll feel that, because of course you can imagine, we live here a number of years. This guardian angel is always connected to us, knowing or not knowing, they are always with us. So we have a connection with him or her. And this connection is like when you meet someone you never met before, but you feel comfortable around, and you feel like you know this person for forever, and you never saw the person before. That's the sensation we are going to have when we re-enter the spiritual world and we meet our guardian angel there. You know, someone that has been with us throughout our existence. So we are going to feel extremely comfortable around them. Again, is everybody is going to meet their guardian angel? Of course not. They will be there, but we need to open ourselves to them. Like, remember André Luiz with his mother, right? He asked his mother, where were you all this time? And she said, I was always there, but you were not prepared to connect to me. So there'll be, you know, spirits that discarnate in difficult situations, or do not understand they accept eternal life, so they'll go there and be unconscious, or they'll be so much focused on their own issues that we discussed that, right? You discarnate a very focus on your ideas and connections to this physical world, that you will not open yourself to connect. So, you know, depends completely on us. They'll be there. If we are going to connect with them, depends on us. Okay. Okay.
507. Do all protective spirits belong to higher orders? Are they sometimes average? Can parents, for example, become spirit guardians to their own children? They may, but this would presume a certain degree of elevation and equality granted by God. Parents who watch over their children may themselves be assisted by a more elevated spirit.
Yeah, here's something interesting, right? Because we normally say that a guardian angel is connected to us before our incarnation, that we are born, and follow us. So How can a parent be a guardian angel, right? Well, like Elmo likes to say, nothing is impossible, right? We had a question, I think you discussed last week, a replacement of a guardian angel during the incarnation. I didn't get you discussed it last week, right? So it can happen. It's the exception. But let's say, you know, you came here on a mission, you got a child, and you want to continue protecting this child. You discarnate early. Let's say it was not the case, but let's talk about Chico Xavier. He lost his mother when he was 5, and his mother was a spirit of advanced spirit. Didn't become his guardian angel, but could her replace his guardian angel and become? Yes, it could be pre-planned, but again, it will be an exception, and it's not very, it wouldn't be very common, especially because our parents are likely to be even less involved than we are. That's the reality. Exceptions exist, but we are always progressing. So if we look at our parents, of course, love and respect, but I look at my parents, I cannot see them as my guardian angels, because they are probably around my level of evolution, a little more, a little less, but not above me. So if they are not above me, they cannot. So, you know, again, can be, but it's very unlikely. A grandparent, more likely, because they likely discarnated before us, right? Or, you know, it's possible, again. Many people, many are born when all the parents are still alive, or grandparents are still alive. So again, it will become an exception. But we have to treat this as an exception, not as a, not as a norm, as a possibility, an unlikely possibility. Okay.
508. Can all spirits who have departed the earth under favorable conditions become the guardians of their loved ones who have stayed behind? Their power is restricted by their position, which does not always grant them full freedom of action.
Yeah, it's a little bit more of the same, right? Normally we have a guardian angel from the beginning until the end. So someone that for someone to become the guardian angel of their loved ones who have stayed behind, it will be the exception, not the rule, and unlikely. Okay. Yeah. Speak up loud so they can hear.
Can a guardian angel follow us through different lifetimes?
Yes. To a certain point, right? Because it's not going to be 10, 20 incarnations with the same guardian angel, because things move, they have to move, we have to move. So it's unlikely, but not impossible. It can be. Normally, there will be more than one incarnation if they are really connected to us, and they will help us through more than one incarnation. But you know, if we evolve enough, they finish their work with us, and they have their own life to continue, right? Their own work to do. They have to evolve also, because nobody here has a perfect spirit as a guardian angel. We don't need that. It's a waste of their talents. And actually, it's not only that, right? It's that our guardian angel is learning, is evolving. It's an opportunity for them also to be responsible for someone. If a perfect spirit will have spirits working directly with him or her, being the guardian angels. So you go to a lower level. So, okay.
509.
Yes.
Do primitive and morally inferior human beings have protective spirits? If so, are these spirits of the same order as those of civilized humanity? All human beings have a spirit who watches over them, but their missions depend on their charge. A child who is learning to read does not have a professor of philosophy for this task. The advancement of the familiar spirit is always relative to that of the spirit it protects. While you have a higher spirit who watches over you, you may in turn become the guardian of a spirit who is lower than you. The progress you help that person make contributes to your own advancement. God does not ask for more from a spirit than its nature and degree of evolution can provide.
Okay, so you saw that I replaced savages with primitive there, right?
Yes.
Yes, so we are trying to move away from this politically incorrect words, okay? So we all have a guardian angel. We already discussed that. Now, someone primitive that is still in the early stages of their evolutionary path, what type of spirit they need as a guardian angel? Someone that's just more evolved than them. So can we be the guardian angels of these spirits? We can, right? We have more knowledge. Now, what are the prerequisites for us to be a guardian angel of this type of spirit? That depends on our moral evolution, not our intellectual, our moral. Because if we are going to get easily frustrated, angry, and all these inferior sentiments that we still carry with our protected spirits, then we are no good use for them. We need to be able to be above these inferior tendencies that we carry, because if they are going to make a lot of mistakes out of lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, and out of still the inferior tendencies that they carry. And if we get angry and frustrated with them, we're not ready to be the guardian angels of them, right? But again, you can think of, let's say, we're here at this stage of evolution, but let's say we go back to the spiritual world, and by reconnecting with previous existences, we see that dear son or daughter of 3 incarnations ago that is struggling, that is a spirit that is still in a very difficult situation because of their lack of effort in advancing. Wouldn't we accept or even ask for the mission of being their guardian angel on an incarnation? It's likely. The perspective, we have to understand is the perspective from the spiritual world is different from here. Here, we get more frustrated with our children when they make mistakes, because we still don't have the eternal spirit, complete understanding and vision, right? It's very difficult when we see people making mistakes to see the bigger picture, right? So from the spiritual world, this tends, with our degree of knowledge and understanding, going back there and getting rid of this physical body will allow us to have a different vision, a different perspective of the incarnation. And in that sense, we may be able to become the guardian angel of one of these loved ones that we left behind, that didn't really evolve, because if we really truly love them, we cannot leave them behind. We won't feel comfortable, right? We want them to move forward. So we'll make an effort to help and assist them if possible. So that's the case where we would be, we'll be a guardian angel of a less evolved spirit, a primitive spirit, as they say here. But more likely and more comfortable will be just familiar spirits, right? We'll follow them, try to help them without being the one responsible for them, because that where we are, it will allow us opportunities for us to do our work also, and to learn things in the spiritual world that we need for our moral and intellectual development, because when you are on a mission to be a guardian angel of a spirit, it's a 24/7 job, right? Again, they may not pay attention to us, but we are there anyway. We're trying to inspire them, to guide them. And so it really, it takes a lot of our time. Of course, like Paco likes to say, one incarnation is nothing, right? So if we spend 70 years in spiritual world connected to an inferior spirit trying to help them, in the eternity, in the picture of eternity, it's nothing really. And that's why many times we choose. But again, if we see that there is someone better prepared than us to help a loved one, wouldn't we like to leave the loved one in the hands of someone more capable than us? If we really love them, yes, we're, unless we are, jealous and possessive of these loved ones. And if we are, then we cannot be a guardian angel. Yeah. Okay. Comments, questions? Oh, okay.
Sean, when we
Yes.
hear in some books or
Can you hear her? No. You have to.
when you hear in lectures or in books and people talking about their inner being, could it be that it has, when people say listen to your inner being or pay attention to your inner being, is it related to your guardian angel?
It can be.
Confusion?
Yeah, it can be. It may be a misquote of what they are without them really understand. Because when you look for assistance and you ask for inspiration and you really connect to the high, the protected spirits will guide and inspire you. And you may think that it was your own idea in the end, your inner self that came with the solution, and actually were connected to the spiritual world. So yes, every time that we sincerely focus on elevating our thoughts and connecting with our protective spirits, our familiar spirits, our guardian angel, they will be there to help us. But if we don't understand the concept, or we don't even entertain the concept, we may think that it was your own idea. So, and then you call it my inner self, or my,
Your inner being could be your angel.
Yes, it could be. Yeah. Okay.
510.
Yeah.
When parents who watch over their child reincarnate, do they continue to watch over them? This task becomes more difficult, but while free, parents may ask a like-minded spirit to assist them in accomplishing it. However, spirits do not undertake missions they cannot see through to the end. An incarnate spirit, especially in heavily material worlds, is debilitated by its body and cannot devote itself entirely to another. For this reason, those who are not elevated enough to serve as guardian angels are assisted by higher spirits, so that if the help of one spirit should fail, its place is filled by another.
Kind of a confusing question and answer here. So what? Yeah.
So many English.
Yes. So the parents are watching over their child. They're talking about. Remember the book No Solar, when André Luiz moved to Elisia's house. And there was the whole family living there, the mother, the father had already reincarnated, and Lysia's sister and himself, they were all living there, right? So let's say Lysia's mother, she went and reincarnate first, but let's say Lysia's daughter come to reincarnate. Lysia's sister, come to reincarnate. And then the mother, who is protecting her from the spiritual world, also comes to reincarnate. She cannot continue watch over the former daughter, because she also reincarnated. And when we are here in this physical body, it's difficult for us to continue watching over another spirit that may be in another place, country, or even in our own family, but we have our own personal issues. So, but something the spirits tell us here that is very important: spirits do not undertake missions that they cannot see through the end. So you are not going to assume a role in the spiritual world if you're not going to be able to stay there to the end. So that's the role of a guardian angel. That's not the role of a familiar spirit. So you can be helping someone that is incarnated, and then it's your time to reincarnate, and you come, because you are not responsible. You are just trying to help, but then you move on. So what happens? Let's say you are there protecting your former daughter in the spiritual world, and it's your time to reincarnate. But you don't want to leave an empty space. You want someone to replace you helping there. So you find, as they say here, some like-minded spirit to replace you there. Again, it's not a guardian angel. It's not replacing a guardian angel. It's replacing someone that also cares. Let's say, a spirit that also cares for this specific person. And again, on a familiar, you are not attached to one spirit only in the role of a familiar spirit. You are attached to one spirit only if you are a guardian angel, right? If you are, you had 7 kids you have like Soraya, 4 kids in this previous incarnation. You can be connected to all 4 of them from the spiritual world, trying to help and assist them as a familiar spirit. You're not the guardian angel, right? But now you come back, they are still here, but you are already coming back to a new incarnation because of necessity. You may find someone, your own mother on your previous incarnation, one of your sisters, anyone that loves your kids enough to be helping and assisting. So that's what they meant here in terms of for us to understand the role of these protective spirits around us. They are not exclusive, and they can move away from us because they have their own. We all have our own jobs to do, right? Like our children. Don't they go to college and leave us behind? Yes. It's do we love them less because they left home? No. Sometimes we start loving even more because they are not there every day, right? It's more or less the same in the spiritual world, right? So if we don't focus on the guardian angel, which is one guardian angel for one spirit, okay?
So the role of a mother or a father or as a child is, forgetting about the name itself, it's not to protect the spirit.
Yes, incarnate or discarnate. It's just, yeah.
The true role, the true name for that is to protect the spirit.
Yes.
The name mother, father, this is like us.
It's temporary, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's in this that we use those names, but in reality, it's to protect the spirit.
Yeah. And again, we need to understand the level of evolution of these spirits may not be much more than ours. So their protection may be sometimes a little bit misguided, yeah, faulty, yes. Yes, because, don't we make mistakes on our kids' educations? We do make mistakes, right? Why, when we go back to the spiritual world, we'll have a little better understanding, an eternal life perspective, but still, it's us. So we will still make.
But do you think also the other way around?
What's the other way around?
Yeah,
Our kids
becoming the protective
Oh, yes.
of the parent.
Of course.
And they grow
And
up,
actually,
I see that a whole lot.
That's something not very rare. It's common
Really?
because as we are progressing, again, as I mentioned before, it's possible that we are more evolved than our parents. So when we go back to the spiritual world, we become their protective spirits, their parents in a sense, because they need us more than we need them at that stage.
That's true, and even those students in this dimension become protected on their part. I've seen it,
Yeah.
like, they will become like 25 or 21, they're really protected, because the parents sometimes they don't know, which way is which.
Yeah.
Left or right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Next.
511. With the exception of protective spirits, are there wicked spirits who attach themselves to individuals to tempt them and cause them to struggle between good and bad? Attached is not accurate. It is very true that bad spirits try to draw you from the path of righteousness when they find an opportunity to do so. However, when one of them attaches to an individual, it does so simply because it hopes the person is going to listen to them. In such a case, there is a struggle between good and a bad spirit, and whoever successfully influences the individual prevails.
That famous image of the angel and the devil, one on each side. Who do we choose to listen to? That's what they're talking about. So the spirits, we will have spirits connected to us either by our inferior tendencies or by our past that will try to influence us. And if we listen to them, they'll be happy to connect to us and to influence us. That's what they are talking, about the wicked spirits that attach to individuals. This, of course, would be much more developed in the Medium's book when Kardec talks about obsessions, fascination, and all this type of spiritual influences that we have, right? But again, we have our free will. We make our choices. If we decide to listen to those inferior spirits, right? Sometimes you listen. People that drink a lot say, I can drink a whole bottle and don't feel anything. Yeah, because half of what you drank went to the companions around you, right? Because they are there to inspire you, that's not the right word, to drink more, to entice you to drink more, because they also need that according to their understanding. So but if we choose to do that, it's our free will. We started, and now they are attaching and they are pushing us to continue doing that path. And if we continue allowing them, they will continue to benefit from our lack of protecting ourselves. The moment we change, right? We really focus on changing. All those spirits that are attached to us only because of that specific imperfection, but it's nothing personal, they'll leave. There are plenty of people there that can help them fulfill their desires. So the only ones that will remain will be the ones that are personal, which are more difficult. But again, if we turn around our vibrations, even those that want to persecute us, that continue attached to us, will have much more difficulty in making us do what they want us to do. And we see those cases on our Monday mediumship meetings, right? Of the spirits that stay here behind, that talk about those that came, and it's a two-way street in the end, right? They will connect to us if we allow them to connect to us. If we don't, they won't. Okay.
It's like an alcoholic who quits. They lose all these friends.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
512. Could we have multiple protective spirits? Every one of you has a number of sympathetic spirits of varying degrees of elevation around you. They care about you out of love, and you have others who help you to do wrong as well.
Yeah, we are surrounded, Paul of Tarsus said, you are surrounded by a multitude of spirits, right? We are surrounded by sympathetic spirits and by non-sympathetic spirits. Depending on what we are doing, we can be, so let's say we are coming to the Spirit Center to study. We can have those spirits that are attached to us just because they want to learn with us. They don't have anything, they don't have a special affection for us or anything, but because of our vibration at the same level, they use the opportunity to come with us. They're brought with us to this place and they are studying with us. When we live here, they go their own way, we go our own way. So, but they liked the connection in the positive sense, not in a negative. In the positive, they like the connection. They will try to stay connected with you from time to time, see if there are other opportunities that they can accompany you to some nice opportunities for them also. So this is the sympathetic spirits that are around us that can be sympathetic to us on a personal level or on the common interest level, right? So I'm sure Ricardo is surrounded by musicians in the spiritual world. They are there enjoying his music and trying to help him compose and listen to the music, right? Now, you know, if he starts composing music that they don't like, they go to the next musician, right? It's because it was not personal. But if it's a musician that, you know, he used to compose together in the 18th century, this spirit will stay there and try to continue directing him to...
Let's change subject.
So these are the sympathetic spirits. But they are the ones that help you to do wrong. We talked about those, right?
But that's really like on you, though. If it's really on you, it's not like you can't just walk in and be like, oh, I have so many sympathetic, wicked spirits that are making me do this. It's your actions, your choices. You know?
Yeah.
We can't be the victim of that.
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday that was telling me about a friend that he has that does a lot of intempestive actions, right? Acts on their impulses, and then after regret and say, "Oh, I cannot, you know, I cannot drink because I do these things." Or again, it's our free will. So if you know that something triggers, you avoid the trigger. You know that, right, Paco? Right? But it's our own job. We cannot blame anyone. I cannot blame you because I act on the trigger, right? You know.
We call it people, places, and things.
People's?
We call it people, places, and things.
People, places, and things. Yes, exactly. So
João, it's the triggers, right? That is the key word, right? Because I'm always confused when talking to people that are, for example, addicted to some kind of drugs, for example. I never know, I don't know the science behind. So I don't know when does the person loses its free will, right? When it's, what's the point when the drug takes control of the person? So I understand that person is responsible, period. So to me, so now that you said the word trigger, I think it's become a bit clear to me. So it's responsible for starting. After there, then it's lost. Then perhaps the drug really took over.
well, I'll ask Elmo to give you a medical view on it, because Elmo has a good way of explaining this.
So matter starts big, right? Everything starts small. right? All the big waters, they start small, everything starts small. An addiction does not start as an addiction. Addiction is the end result of that behavior, lack of self-control, lack of self-esteem, whatever, right? Combination of those things. Once you say the word addiction, we are talking about of chemical dependence. Okay, so then it becomes a pathology, becomes a problem that has to be resolved. Okay, so someone is addicted to heroin, let's say. They cannot say, I have my free will, I'm not gonna do that anymore. They're gonna go straight to cemetery. They're gonna die. Because they have an addiction, they have a chemical dependence. They can say, I have the willpower to quit this habit. And then she go to the process of taking a thing that was big and make it small again. And no longer be addicted. That's what the willpower, that's where the necessity to avoid the triggers to not go back and make it a big thing again. Okay. So once you say the word addicted, now it's a big thing. You have the willpower to stop, yes. There is a process. The same way a process to get from a small thing to a big thing, it's going to be a process to go from a big thing to a small thing. And the triggers along the way maybe weaken your desire to get rid of it. Every time this guy get a little bit better, you find a trigger along the way and you have a relapse, what's called a relapse. And you go through that until you are free of the chemical dependence, the addiction, but likely not ever truly cured. As they say, as Pablo say, in Alcoholics Anonymous, you never say they got cured. There is a battle to life. And that in that battle, you have to deal with the triggers. The triggers will may lead you to become an addiction, a big thing. And there will be the triggers you're going to have to resist to allow yourself to get rid of that addiction.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Could you hear what I was saying, Philip? People?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because we're still testing here. We want to make sure that you guys hear when people hear in the talk in the center. It's important for you, so you guys can participate, right? If you're not hearing anything, someone talking, please let us know. Okay. So I'll ask the person to speak louder. Okay.
So far today, it's been very good.
Okay, good. So next.
13. Are sympathetic spirits forced to act as part of a mission? In some cases, they may have a temporary mission, but they usually are drawn to an individual because they share similar good or bad sentiments. A. So it is correct to assume that sympathetic spirits can be either good or bad. Yes, human beings are always surrounded by spirits who are in sympathy with them, whatever their nature may be.
Okay, so here we're talking about sympathetic spirits, not guardian angels, right? So sympathetic spirits may come to help us as a temporary mission, but usually they are drawn to us because of similar thoughts, right? Affinity, yes. Good or bad sentiments, affinity on both sides. Then that's why Kardec has the spirits. Sympathetic spirits can be either good or bad, yes. They're just spirits that connect with us through same interest, same vibration. So they can be good or bad depending on how we connect to them. So sympathetic spirits, the definition, a guardian angel is always a spirit that is more evolved than us and is responsible for us. A sympathetic spirit, someone that just likes the same things that we are, that we like, right? You go to a football match because you like, there's a lot of sympathetic spirits there with you, right? They always share the same interest. right? So they can be good or bad.
Well, that happens here too.
Yeah, exactly.
In the world, the physical world. obviously.
Again, the spirit world is just us on the other side,
So, yeah,
and I haven't changed much.
that's true. Every time, the more
Yeah.
I read about it, the more I believe what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just a different perspective, maybe, because then, here we are talking about life, this eternal life and everything, but here we may be 99% sure, but maybe not 100%. When we go back there, we are 100% sure that we survived and
Yeah, but this guy is making me experience the macro perspective, not only the MI, micro, but the macro MI.
mhm, yeah.
That's what, I've experienced coming here with the service.
Yeah, and actually that's very important. The more you amplify your vision and your understanding, the less the daily problems will bother you, because they are small in relation to us as eternal spirits. Of course, you are in the middle of the hurricane. You cannot say, oh, it's the hurricane, don't worry. No, you're in the middle of it, you have to worry. Yeah, but after the hurricane leaves and you look, yeah, well, it's another step in the evolutionary journey that I had to go through, right?
It's like sometimes one would say, if I had not gone to all those difficult experiences, I would have never gotten, I would have never arrived at this time, at this phase, at this point in time.
Yeah, again, it's important to remember, we are not here on vacations, right? As much as we would like to be on a vacation in this incarnation, we're not. We're here to learn and to evolve, and learning and evolving it's not an easy ride, because if, again, like I like to say, we're lazy. If everything comes easy, we won't make any effort. We need to be challenged. That's the only way at our stage of evolution. A little bit above us, we'll be able to do without being challenged. In the world of regeneration, we start to do things because that's what we need to do, because they are right. But at this stage, a world of trials and atonements, we only do things when we are forced to do. Most of us, again, not all of us, but most of us, right? If you win the lottery, most of us just stop working and just live with the money, right? I was reading a news today, funny but sad. A Japanese guy in a small village that by mistake received $300,000 in help from the government that was supposed to go to the whole town. It went to only one guy. He spent all online, playing games online.
It's sad.
Did he lose it all?
Lose it all.
It's sad, but it's funny.
Now he has to pay the city.
Yeah, now he's being prosecuted. He's going to go to jail. But again, I was just giving an example. That's the average us. We're laughing, but that's the average us. We take advantage of opportunities if they present to us, and we don't make an effort. An evolved spirit, not much evolved, a little more evolved spirit, what they would do, go back and say, I just received this money here, it doesn't belong to me, what happened, right? You just need to be a little more morally evolved than the average. But the average, it's exactly like this guy. If something comes, okay, I'll take it. Let me go play online with it. That's a choice, right? So many.
Or you leave the jacket on the chair, and then you go to the back, and then come back to farm.
24-year-old kid. Incredible, right? Anyways. All right, one more, because now we have all the definitions. I like this one, 514.
Are familiar spirits the same as sympathetic spirits and protective spirits? There are many levels of protection and sympathy, and you may call them whatever you like. A familiar spirit is usually a friend of the home. Based on the above explanations and observing the nature of spirits connected to human beings, we can draw the following conclusions. Protective spirits, familiar spirits, or guardian angels have a mission to accompany the individuals they are protecting over the course of their lives and help them to advance. The degree of perfection in these protective spirits is always superior to that of their charges. Familiar spirits connect with specific people for longer or short period of time to be useful to them within the confines of their possibilities, which can be quite narrow. They have the best intentions, but sometimes can be inappropriate and even flippant. They are concerned with the everyday details of human life and only act when permitted or ordered by a protective spirit. Sympathetic spirits are drawn to us by personal affection and similar good or bad inclinations. The length of their relationship with us is almost always dependent on circumstances. A wicked spirit is an imperfect or perverse spirit who connects with someone in order to corrupt them. It acts of its own volition with no mission, and its persistence is proportionate to the access granted to it. A person is always free to follow the suggestions of a bad spirit or to resist them.
Okay, so here Kardec, after the Spirits answer that there are many levels of protection and sympathy, and you may call them whatever you like, and they say a familiar spirit is usually a friend of the home. And then Kardec gives us the explanation dividing in the categories, right? The protective spirits, guardian angels, familiar spirits, they have a mission to accompany the individuals they are protecting over the course of their lives. Again, the guardian angel is the only one that stays all the time. The protective spirits, familiar spirits can go about their lives or even leave for different reasons. Yes.
I think in this first paragraph, familiar spirits is misplaced.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I didn't check. So let's talk protective spirits and guardian angels. That's the first category. The familiar spirits are the ones related to us by, blood in the past, by connections in the spiritual world. They love us and they are trying to help us. They always have the best intentions, but sometimes don't have the best knowledge and understanding on how to help. It's the cases that we always talk about here. Someone has a heart attack in the middle of the street. You have no idea how to treat, and you go there and try to start helping that person. You may kill that person instead of helping him or her, right? So this is the familiar spirits. They want to help us. They really want to help us, but sometimes they don't know much. So normally they will have other spirits guiding them on how to be more efficient. And we see that a lot in the books of André Luiz, right? These familiar spirits coming to the mentors, coming to André Luiz and asking for the mentors to help and assist. We see that it's in the beginning of Between Heaven and Earth. Someone comes to ask for the help of the family. In Missionaries of the Light, Segismundo is a protective spirit, his future guardian angel that comes and asks for the help of Alexander, right? And André Luiz, and they go to help. So you see these familiar spirits, they are the ones that love, but sometimes don't know exactly how to take care of the problems. So they need help and assistance. We talked about sympathetic spirits, right? They are drawn by personal affection or similar good or bad inclinations. They can be good or bad. They're just spirits that connect to us through our thoughts and desires. And the category that we didn't talk here, a wicked spirit, right? The inferior spirits that connect to us to corrupt us because of us or because of an idea that we have, right? So you can imagine something that happened this last weekend that, the horrible massacre there in Buffalo. This young boy, the moment he decides to do that and starts reading about this, a lot of these wicked spirits will connect to him to make him do what he did. Again, it's his fault, it's his choice, it's his free will.
It's only 18, right?
Yeah, but he was not alone. Understanding the spiritual world, he was not alone. He was followed by some of these wicked spirits that are there to keep pushing him. But again, a person is always free to follow the suggestion of a bad spirit or to resist that. It's very important. Nobody's forced to do anything. You never, even when understanding spirits and spirits being widely accepted in a society, you cannot go to court and blame on the spirit because of something that you did. It's our own responsibility, right? The same thing in the spiritual world and here, because we can resist at a certain point. Again, cases, extreme cases of subjugation that we study in the Medium's book, it reaches a point when the spirit loses its ability to act almost, but still then, like when Elmo talked about the addicted, when they want to get out of the addiction and look for help is there. A person that is subjugated, if sincerely asks for help, the help will be there and the spirit will be separated in some formal way. There are ways to treat those. So
I have a question
sure.
regarding willpower or freedom of,
Willpower or
or will, what do you call it, free will.
free will, yeah.
Do you have free will when, let's say, I'm 6 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old? A teenager, like a teenager,
Yeah, the free will according to your level of understanding, moral and intellectual evolution, and in an incarnation, until you are of age, you are treated by human justice as according to your age, right? And this is again a reflection of how you are responsible, relatively responsible for what you do. We know that a child doesn't have the brain fully developed, fully formed. We know that a child until 7 and even until 14, the spirit is not fully integrated with the new physical body. So there are situations where the responsibility is not 100% on the spirit, but still the spirit is always responsible and will face the consequences according to their degree of knowledge and intention. And this is very important when we talk about anything in spiritism. Suicides, for instance. Do all suicides face the same consequence? No. If you committed a suicide, planning it, thinking about it, doing everything very conscious of what you are doing, the consequences are worse from someone that an act of desperation, receive a very difficult news and an act of desperation kills oneself. Still, you have the responsibility, you chose, but the consequences cannot be the same of someone who's premeditated. And here is the same with the human justice, right? If you kill someone as an impulse, someone attacked you and you fight and kill, it's different than you invade someone's house to rob and you kill the person that appears in front of you. It's premeditated. Human justice treats it differently.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in the spiritual world.
Even if you are committing a crime with someone else and that someone else murders somebody, you're still responsible for that.
Yes.
Even though you didn't do the murder.
Yes, because it's a human law to prevent you for you to associate with criminals. Right?
I'm just thinking about, because he's 18. I'm not what do you call it, playing that was advocate here. But that kid at 18 must have been bombarded with so much hatred from from the get-go. You know,
It's possible. We don't know. We don't. It's very difficult because we don't know.
I'm at 16. So that's, you know, I'm not trying to defend the kid.
Yeah,
You know, he's still wrong. What he did is definitely.
It's you know,
awful.
again, you have to face the consequence, and he's going to have to face very serious consequence, both here and back in the spiritual world. And we hope he has enough time in prison here to reflect, learn, and get over it. That's why, you know, the life sentence is always more important to a spirit like this than the death penalty, because the death penalty just frees the spirit back to the spiritual world and doesn't change it. It goes back even angrier because he was killed here by death penalty. So if you stay, even if our prisons are very still imperfect in terms of recuperating individuals, there is more chance of recuperating in a prison for life than just sending them back to the spiritual world. Okay, we went over a little bit.
Not much.
Not much, no. 3 minutes.
Well, what is that? Is 1 minute.